What is up, everybody? What is up? It's another episode of Shooting the Shit Uncensored, baby. It's Thursday night. It's me. It's the bald, the beard, the beautiful Piers Austin. And tonight I have a very, very special guest, and I'm really excited to have my guest on. I've been wanting to have her on for a long time, and now tonight's the night, so I'm really excited to have her on. I'm very pumped. But before I bring out my guest, Rochelle Rogue, I just want to take a quick second, a quick pause for the cause, a quick moment, if you will, baby, to thank some of the sponsors that help keep the lights on up in this bitch. First up is A-Rock Designs. Now, A-Rock Designs is that company you always hear me raving about, ladies and gentlemen. It's the company you were seeing all over the wrestling groups, the wrestling pages, the Instagram pages. They make wrestling cups, hoodies, t-shirts, keychains, tumblers, you name it, they make it. They may be my custom CM Punk tumbler, which I've always got on hand, and this thing is an absolute beast, and it keeps cold drinks cold, hot drinks hot, and it keeps me going all show long. So, guys, make sure you hit up A-Rock Designs. Get yourself one today. They will hook you up. They do an amazing product with an amazing price. You will not be disappointed. And they ship from Georgia in the United States all around the world. So you make sure you go and hit them up. Find them on Facebook or Instagram or arockdesigns.com. Next up is Signal Studios. Now, Signal Studios is that recording studio in Sydney, Australia, and they are one of the best recording studios in Australia. They have the most comfortable, the most relaxing recording rehearsal space you will ever find. So if you're a musician, you need a place to jam, a place to rehearse, a place to record, a place to get your creative juices flowing. You will not find a more comfortable place than Signal Studios, ladies and gentlemen. Or if you're an independent professional wrestler and you always want to get a new track or something cool, something hip, something dope to walk to the ring with, you can hit up Rafi from Signal Studios. They can mix, master, produce, and send that bitch out anywhere in the world, ladies and gentlemen. They work with such amazing bands like the Cicadas Band, who provide the amazing intro track for my show and every other show here on the MWA Podcast Network. So check out the Cicadas Band as well. Huge shout out to those boys and Signal Studios. But I can see we've got a few people in the live chat tonight. As always, Kyle Eade. He's always keen for every show we got going on. We appreciate the support, Kyle. Joel Southgate, even though the Knights are playing, I'm still watching Shooting the Shit Uncensored because this is the place to be, baby. You know it. On the MWA Podcast Network, we are the place to get all your wrestling entertainment in the world. But ladies and gentlemen, I've talked enough shit. I'm going to bring out my guest of the evening, Rochelle Rogue. Thank you so much, Rochelle, for joining me.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. Like, howdy, everyone.
Rochelle, it's as I said, I've been wanting to have you on the show for a while, and I'm really glad to finally have you on this evening. But how's everything been? Because it's like, now wrestling shows have sort of started to come back post-COVID. Late last year, it sort of started to open up, and we're seeing more and more shows being put on. So, how's it been for you getting back in the swing of things?
Oh, it has been stressful, if I'm being honest, like trying to juggle like life, getting back into things from COVID, like just in general, and then training and then wrestling as well. And it's like, oh, I can actually do stuff in my weekends. What? But it's always a great time, I am so happy to finally be able to wrestle live again and be able to wrestle in front of people. And like, now that COVID is slowly starting to die down in Australia, I'm actually able to travel interstate like I've planned to, like, my entire career. And I mean, it's pretty awesome. And I'm finally making that dream come true tomorrow. So
yeah. And you got a big matchup tomorrow with Richie Taylor, in the Deathmatch Down Under tournament at the Juice is Worth the Squeeze. And that's going to be a great match. And I honestly think that, Richie and yourself are two of the best talents in Australia today. And I'm definitely excited to watch that match.
Oh, you're too kind. Oh, that like makes my heart warm. But honestly, out of all of how do I explain this? All of the matches that are in the tournament, they are main event matches. Anywhere in Australia,
100%.
like would book them as a main event match, and it makes me feel really accomplished to be a part of it. Not only to wrestle Richie in round one, like the possibility of wrestling anyone, like if I eventually, fingers crossed, progress through to the finals and stuff like that, which would be amazing and like scary at the same time, because it's like, oh my god, this like nobody girl from like a small country town is like, it's just mind-boggling to me, to be honest.
So you grew up in a small country town. Where'd you grow up?
So I grew up in a small town about an hour and a half from Newcastle, New South Wales. Honestly, it is like the middle of buttfuck nowhere.
Fair enough. And were you always like, when you were a kid, were you always into wrestling?
Oh, I was a major wrestling nerd. Mine, like all throughout primary school, and even to this day, I'm a major wrestling nerd. I had a crush, and I still have a crush on Matt Cardona / Zack Ryder, because who wouldn't?
I saw your tweet, and I was gonna ask you about that. So Matt Cardona was your guy, huh?
Oh, he was like, oh, I love the broski, man. Like, I'm sorry.
No,
just fangirling over here.
No, not at all. It's it's funny though, because he was always a really is a really good talent, but it's just like, you know what I mean? Like I just never think he really got his due.
Yeah, like he really had to work for everything that he got given, and he is amazing. I adore him. I adore everything he has done, and honestly, he deserves a lot more than what he has gotten. And I'm really, really glad to see him in AEW and actually continue his career, despite being the mid-carder on WWE,
Yeah, but what was it about Matt Cardona that intrigued you?
Other than the fact that, he's like attractive, like
I don't know. I'm a straight male, so I can't comment on that, but okay.
But like, other than that, it was like the fact that he took his chances and he ran with it, and he, didn't give a shit. Like, he made a name for himself. Exactly. Yeah. And like, me and my siblings and my parents still, whenever we see him, we still go, woo, 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 it. Like, and like, even my gear is inspired off of him, like with the like half cut leg, like the long short.
Before I saw your tweet today, I was going to actually ask you about that.
Yeah,
but like, I think as well, like to have that sort of like connection to sort of a performer is pretty cool. But who was some of the others that you really sort of like when you started watching wrestling that really drew you in?
So Beth Phoenix is a major one for me. Chyna, another. Triple H, Rey Mysterio. I love Rey Mysterio. I wish I could do all the flippy shit, but like, I'll leave that to Kid Valiant. I'll just let him deal with that.
Let him do the flippy shit. Yeah, why not? But quite a list of performers there. But growing up in a small country town, did you think becoming a professional wrestler was unattainable?
Oh, 100%. Like, I didn't even know about independent wrestling in Australia. Like, I had no clue until my parents won tickets to a Hunter Valley Hunter Valley show. Hunter Valley Wrestling. Yeah, that's it. I think that's what it was called.
Yeah,
no clue. So, yeah. It's just going over the top of my head at the moment. I'm like, what is it called? But like, we won tickets to those, and me and my little siblings and my two parents, we we all went to a show and all of that. You know, we watched it. We fell in love with it. Suplex Professional Wrestling, the place where I started my training. You know, I went to a tryout there. Yeah, and now a few years down, like about like a year or two so down the track, I went to Nui Pro, and I've been there ever since. You know, like
That's a great
yeah.
great promotion and great training. You know, those guys do down there as well. You just
Oh,
see
100%.
some
Like
absolute stars come out.
like I have no idea what I'd do if without Hoffman. Like I was kind of pigeonholed, like before I started training at the Hoos, into this. I had to do all the small guy shit. Like I had to be able to like do all the little boy shit, but I didn't learn how to base properly.
Mm.
And then I go to the House of Refining, and Adam Hoffman is like, "Why are you trying to do all of this little guy shit? It's like you're strong, you know, like you literally look like you could throw a bitch. Like, what the fuck are you doing?" So here's the reason that I started developing a moveset where it's like, yeah, I'll use my strength to my ability. I will be a, you know, person who is like there, you know, like I'm using my strength and my ability, and I'm using that in my wrestling, like my wrestling now. And I take a lot of my wrestling points off of Adam Hoffman because he does a very similar style to me, even though he is not the tallest person around. He still does this strong guy shit where he can throw someone across the ring, can do all that cool shit, and it looks amazing. So I really can't thank Hoffman enough. I can't thank Bonza enough as well. You know, he's been a big help on my journey. Charlie Rose, Carter Deems is another one. But other than my trainers, I've really got to thank 5-Star Flash for actually giving me a shot. You know, he took a chance on this, you know, like on the girl who wasn't the best, and he gave me a place where I could train, and like it gave me confidence to be able to train at the House of Freak Fighting and to wrestle people who are at PWA, like Nui Pro, and wrestling interstate and training interstate, which is like really, really cool. And I can't thank them enough at like for anything that anything and everything that they've done for me.
But do you think that, like, because you said, you know, like 5e giving you the opportunity where you don't think that you're quite ready for it, though, do you think that that was more of a mental thing for you? Like, do you think ability wise you were there, but you thought you weren't, if that makes sense?
So ability wise, I don't think I was when I first started getting booked at FWA. Like I was able to hold a crowd. I was able to do what I got taught, but you know, like I didn't have a set move set. I didn't really know what I was doing on my first couple of shows there. And you know, then I had in the long run, yeah, I realized that he really took a shot on me, even though like I wasn't the best. You know, he gave a shot on me, and I you know, I appreciate him so much. And yeah, he is an amazing bloke.
5 is a good dude, and I think like to give people those shots, I think that's the way that I think over the years it's like once people know the basics, and you know, talking to some of the veterans that I've been in contact with, you know, they've always said it's like, you know, when they started, it's like they learned how to bump, they learned how to do the basics, and it was like everything else they just learned by going and working matches.
Yeah, exactly. And like it was such a big shock doing my first ever FWA show because I was up against Shazza McKenzie, and first time I ever met Shazza, I was like starstruck. I'm like, oh my god, it's Shazza McKenzie. We ended up doing like this really weird handshake, and she's like, we're about to wrestle, like let's just hug it out. I'm like, okay. And I went home to my mum and dad. I'm like, oh my god, I hugged Shazza McKenzie.
And how did the match with Shazza go? Because Shazza's an absolute star.
Oh, I love doing the, like, what was it? It was a fatal 5-way for the women's Road to Glory plaque. But doing everything in the match with Shazza was insane, and it was really like shocking and scary, and but awesome at the same time. It was so many nerves and so many like experiences rolled into one, and it was like, definitely a crazy match to have for my first debut. Well, not first debut, first ever match / debut. There we go, English, for a company that I, like my first Sydney booking as well. Like, it was insane to think, like, oh my God.
Where were you in your career when you faced Shazza? Was it still early days?
Oh, that was very early days. I'd say maybe, I don't know, probably about anywhere between, I think, about 8 months into my after my in-ring debut. So about 8 months or so.
That's a pretty big match for someone, still a year still a year in. Did Shazza sort of go through that match with you and sort of
walk you through like
it?
Shazza pretty much, like, she was so great in that match. So was Kingsley. I remember being backstage freaking out because I'm like, I'm scared I'm gonna like mess this match up, and she literally sat down with me and she's like, all right, regurgitate the match to me. What do you know? And I can fill in the blanks for you. It was the same with Lena Cross and Xena. All of them were fantastic, and they all helped me so much. And it was like, I really appreciated it, and it was definitely something I really needed. And I loved the support they gave me, even though they only just met me.
But that's the thing, like the Australian wrestling community, and I've said this before, it just seems like a completely different world to what we hear and what we know about the international scene, as far as like the politics, the throat cutters and everything like that. Everyone just seems so supportive of putting on amazing shows. And it's like I tell some of my friends over in other countries that are performers of what I hear, and they're just like, nah, bro, they're working you. And I'm like, I don't know, man. Everyone's saying the same thing, and you see it in the product as well.
Yeah,
that everyone's working together to put on a great show.
Yeah, 100%. Like, honestly, we're all such a big family. Like, I don't think I've ever met a rude independent Australian wrestler at all. Like, it's honestly insane when I think about it. Like, I have made friends through wrestling, through the social media. Yes, I am an old person now, guys. Like, gang.
Through the Twitter machine.
Through the twit face.
The twit tube.
Over social media and all that. Like, Kid Valiant, big shout out to that kid. I adore him. But, like, met him through social media. Like, I consider him family. Like, and there are so many people that I know that it's like, well, I've only met them once or twice, but I know for a fact if I rung them up crying, they would be there for me and console me. So
I
love it.
Fraternity.
Exactly, and I love it so much.
Yeah, and I think as well, like the talent that's in Australia now is just it's just coming more and more and more, like and the talent is at such a top level, and it's just getting better and better. And I think and the world has taken notice of Australian wrestling in the last 10 years, and a lot of guys now and girls, women I should say, sorry, that WWE goal, or that big time contract goal, is now a lot more attainable than what it was 15, 20 years prior.
Yeah, definitely. Like, Australia is honestly a gold mine as such. Like, there are so many good talent, and I can't wait to see what becomes of it. Like, I'm really, really keen to see what happens.
And I wanted to ask you, your ring gear obviously you have the Aboriginal, flag on your gear and the colors, really representing that. And as far as like, your background and, bringing that into your pro wrestling persona, what's the sort of, your character's objective, like, are you, obviously you're going out there and representing, who you are, and it's an important part of your life, obviously, to incorporate it into your wrestling gimmick as well. Was that
Yeah.
always your goal to incorporate that?
So it was never I wouldn't say it was never really my goal, but it was definitely something that I felt really strongly about because like my entire life I got told I don't look Aboriginal, like I'm too white, and going into wrestling, I'm like, that's one thing I don't want people to not know. I'm not going to say, oh, I'm not Aboriginal. I am. I'm proud of it, and I don't care what anyone says because that's my culture.
The truth. Yeah.
Exactly. Like, and I will advocate like my culture. I'll advocate my people, and
As you
like
should.
it's a big thing. It may only be small, but it's still such a big thing that I want to represent and want to bring across in my gimmick and my wrestling persona, per se.
And talking about your wrestling persona, what are you, when you come out to the ring, what are you wanting to achieve? What are you wanting to project to the audience?
I want. How do I explain this? Okay, I want the little girl in the crowd in the front row to be able to say, I want to be just like her. I want them to be able to think that they can be strong and independent and they can be a badass and they don't have to conform to society's norms of what they should look like. Like I want to be a role model, not like for for males, females, and everywhere in between,
Yeah.
I want them to be able to look at me and be like, yeah, I want to be as confident and as proud as this girl. It's not just the, oh, I'm out there to I am out there to have fun, but I'm also out there to inspire, to help people. Because
have you always been that sort of person? Like, obviously, before wrestling, is someone who's wanted to be like I don't want to say like a leader, but someone who was sort of like leading the pack and sort of like, putting in the work and just sort of leading the way by that means that
yeah,
meaning.
like I've always been like that. All throughout school, I was, I advocated for like the Indigenous children and Indigenous peoples. I was the leader of the junior ACG for my high school for like 3 years. So I was like advocating, doing that for 3 years or whatever it was. I've always been like this, and I don't think I'm going to change anytime soon.
Yeah. Have you ever like encountered, like, obviously, at wrestling shows, fans can sort of be inappropriate at times and sort of, throw some comments out there that are pretty shady. Have you ever had sort of, that sort of happen, by going to the ring, fans just getting a little bit carried away?
A little bit. I find that they make more sexual comments than anything, which I kind of just brush off. Like, I think it's kind of funny that they think it's all right. Like, I shouldn't think it's funny, but like I do, because it's like, well, obviously you don't have the balls to say it to a girl's face, but you'll yell it out across to her when she's in a ring, But there's a story. One of my first ever shows, my first ever, like second singles match or something like that. One of my first ever matches. My family are there watching me wrestle. I come out and I'm wrestling Nikki Van Blair, and I loved wrestling Nikki, and I want to do it again.
Nikki's amazing.
Oh, he is amazing, and I love him so much. And this dude is sitting next to my dad, and says to my dad, "Oh, that Rochelle girl has a nice ass." My dad looks at him. He's like, "That's my daughter."
Oh, just imagine it, like that dude, like just sitting there, like that. But that's the thing. Like, if I was at a wrestling show and I was just sitting there by myself, and some dude like would make a comment like that, I'd be like, okay, bud. Like, like what would you even say to that? But then to say it to the
I know.
performer's father sitting next to you, that is like, oh, did the guy? Please tell me the guy shit himself.
Oh, he did. He like cowered away. He's like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." And Dad started cracking up. He's like, "What the actual fuck is going on right now?"
Oh man, that is welcome to the wrestling business, pops. Like Jesus. But I just like that's.
People are pretty bad. Like, it is
Yeah, look, that sort of shit's not okay. Like it's
no, it's not.
It's kind of like when you're young dudes sitting in a car, like beeping a horn across the road at girls going, "Oi, baby, come here." Do you really expect them to turn around and go, "Hey, yeah, sure, let's go," right? Like
that. I wanted that actually to happen to me, and I will, like, me being a fucking smart ass, I would be like, "Yeah, come on, let's go." And then they drive off because they're like, "Oh no, Ash, you said something to me."
she slapped the living shit out of her. Oh god, that's funny. But yeah, some people just need a slap to the face, you know.
Literally, like, yeah. There's not much else you can say about it.
Yeah, it's not. I'm just blown away that someone would even say that comment at a wrestling show in this day and age.
Right.
With people being more sensitive to people and everything like that.
Yeah.
Someone even say it, but then even to say it to your old man, I have to admit that's pretty funny.
Oh, it was funny, and that's what Dad said. He's like, I just think this is funny, and Mum did too. They were like just the reaction of when Dad was like, "That's my daughter," and he's like, face drop. Oh shit!
Because that was probably the last thing that anyone ever was expecting in that situation.
Exactly. And like, the funny thing about my dad, my dad is pretty like a stocky built dude, covered in tattoos, bald. He is scary.
Respect but to be fair, my mother dudes.
Exactly, and he's got a beard too. My beard gang.
That's it. Beard bald dudes all the way. Mr. Road, much respect. But like as far as wrestling, like when you broke into wrestling, like started getting into the training side of things, was your family like, yeah, we're not surprised? Or were they like, oh, I don't know, like
Mum was a bit, I don't know, like I did NRL for 4 years or something like that during high school. So I was so comfortable in the contact sport kind of thing where it's like, oh, if I get hurt, I get hurt. Get up, brush it off, you're right. But Mum was still a bit, I don't know, because of like how much more dangerous it is. Like doing all these high risk, maneuvers. You've got another person in there that you need to trust with pretty much your life. But Dad was like, how cool would it be to like say you're a fucking wrestler? Like, go do it.
Yeah, Dad's a mark. I love it. That is the coolest shit ever. That is the coolest shit ever. Like, we just seem to have lost Rochelle. I'm sure she'll be back in a second. But, guys, this is an amazing interview. But, guys, all the way, I just want to let you know we are going to be having a giveaway coming up soon, ladies and gentlemen, which details that are going to be coming out on social media. But Rochelle's back, so we'll bring it back. Thank you. There you go. But, so I think that's awesome that your dad was just, like, so supportive in it. And it was just like, yeah, like, that's fucking awesome. Like, you have to do it.
Literally, Dad was like, I'm too old to do it. Go, so you go do it. Go have fun.
That's all.
Dad literally drove me to the tryout and signed the waiver. He's like, yep, You'll be right. I'll see you in a few hours.
That's awesome. I'm a little bit too old to get in the wrestling business, but I've got 3 kids, and I'm hoping one of them does. So
Oh,
I've got them
please.
watching Hogan Piper from '85. So
Oh, pop. Yes.
yeah, yeah. Like that. I'm an '80s kid, so I put like '80s cartoons on for my kids, and they're like, "What the fuck is this
yeah.
shit?" Yeah.
It's like, put on Bluey. We want the Bluey.
Oh God, Bluey. That never gets old in this house, I'll tell you that much. But you know, so your dad obviously was a huge supporter, of you getting into the business.
Oh,
You know,
100%.
was he always like a lifelong fan? And as he said, like I'm too old to do it, but you're the right age, so go for it. Like,
So, yeah, I'm pretty sure Dad's been a fan for years. Same with Mum. Like, when I was like baby, like a newborn, they would watch wrestling with me, and they'd like have me there, and we'd all watch wrestling, and it was like early like 2000s wrestling, which was sick.
yeah. They're sort of just coming out of the Attitude Era into like the ruthless aggression sort of
Yeah.
days.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a time to be a wrestling fan.
It really was. Like that is that progression between like the Attitude Era to ruthless aggression, that'll always be my favorite like wrestling period, because like it was cool. Like they still had that like antsy like aggression, but then it was like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get exactly what you mean. But let me ask you this: like, what was the one moment that you saw in wrestling that you went, "Fuck yeah!" Like, I'm gonna do this. Like, was there a one spot, or was there a one show that you were watching? You went, "Fuck yeah!" Now I'm doing this.
So I will hands down say this every time, other than, you know, Mankind versus fucking Undertaker, where he gets thrown off the fucking cell. Other than that, would be when Beth Phoenix, in I think it was the 2007 Royal Rumble, enters the men's Royal Rumble and eliminates the Great Khali.
Is that when she like makes out with him and that's how she eliminates him?
Yeah.
Yeah, I fucking popped for that. I was like, that works perfectly. Like, how else
I
are you
know,
gonna get like
right?
a 7-foot giant out of the ring? It's like, well played.
Oh,
Yeah,
and
but
like
those were
Beth
the
Phoenix.
moments. Those were the moments for you that went like, I'm in wrestling
Exactly.
right now.
Like it's like those moments where it's like, yeah, it's fun, it's dangerous, but let's just send it, my dude.
Yeah. But that's the thing. It's the entertainment value of wrestling as well, like the characters, the storylines, and stuff like that. And one of the things that I've really enjoyed about your work is seeing some of the promos that you do. And how you come across in your promos. Like, it's very confident. Like, I don't want to say arrogance, because I think there's a fine line between confidence and arrogance, and I think that you really sort of skirt that line, but by keeping on the baby face side of things. But your
Thank
promos
you.
are really, really good. I really enjoy them. Was that something that came easy to you, promos, or was that something that you really had to work at?
I had my dad's help with my promos.
Yeah, Daddy Rose. This is awesome.
So like I would write out my I would write them out, and like I've always been like a confident speaker. I did public speaking for a very like long time. I was doing speeches for like ever since I was like knee high, you know, like I'm a confident speaker, but it was like, how do I get Rochelle across and what I want to be across in this like under a minute video? And it's like trying to find that, like how the wave, the motion of trying to bring that across where it doesn't look like it's being forced, which did take a long time for me. You know, like many retakes of promos.
But that's the thing. I think like all wrestling fans, like when they're younger, like have like cut the most insane promos in their bedroom, like to their parents or like in front of the mirror. You know.
Literally, or in the car ride home in the back seat.
Yeah. Or just like, or you just, but it's almost like the promos that you have are like arguments that you have with people, and then it's like when you're leaving or you're away from it, you're just thinking of the argument in your head and really like, fuck, should have said that. Fuck.
Literally, though.
It's, yeah, I mean, but I think as well, like it would be a hard thing to sort of like go into. I think even with being a confident speaker, to do promos, to have a storyline and have a goal of where you want it to sort of lead to and what the promo is that you want to achieve out of it.
Yeah, like it does come with time and practice, and I still don't think I've got it down pat, because I have a tendency to repeat myself, and I get scared sometimes, and I start talking really quickly, and then my eyes go like, ah.
But I think with experience and the more longer that you're involved in the business, those things are just going to come more and more naturally to you.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, Charlie Rose is the not Charlie Rose, Charlie Evans. So my brain is fried at the moment. So many Charlies.
That's okay.
Yeah. But
I referred to Maddie Wahlberg the other day as Mark Wahlberg while I was talking to someone on an interview, and I was like, oh shit.
Same, I get it. But Charlie Evans is someone who is absolutely fantastic at promos, and gets that point across. But also shout out to Charlie Rose. She's fucking amazing, and I love her, and I want to wrestle her badly.
There you go. Let's try and get some of the promoters in here. I saw Deathmatch Down Under here. Maybe FWA's around as well. So
please,
hey guys, let's try and hook that up. So, but I think from where you started in the business to where you are now, you've definitely really sort of created a strong following for yourself, as well as starting to see you popping up in shows like at PWA with the Rumble, and now with Deathmatch Down Under with their title tournament, and even in a tournament, as you said earlier, which is completely stacked, and every match is a main event in any card in the country.
Yeah, exactly. It's nerve-wracking, being a nobody. Like, I still consider myself a nobody, it's just like, hey, Fivey!
But yeah, look, I think where you're at now is you're just going to see you doing more and more shows, around the area, and I'd love to see more of your stuff here in Sydney. But looking at one of the things I wanted to ask you is, because this is your first interstate match that you've got this Saturday against Richie Taylor. Has Richie been someone you've wanted to sort of work for a while?
Oh, 100%. Back in my first year of wrestling, Richie wanted me to come down to Melbourne, and he put my name forward to Adrenaline, I'm pretty sure. But I was in the middle of doing my HSC, so I was like, oh my God. And the booking was like dead smack right in the middle of all my tests and assignments and all that, and it was just a logistical nightmare. But I've always wanted to wrestle Richie. I have a major respect for him too. He's been around for ages, and he's definitely someone I look up to. It's he's someone I've wanted to wrestle for a very, very long time.
Yeah, he's absolutely great talent, and when I spoke to him last week, he was saying that he's probably got a year left in wrestling, and that to me was just like, whoa, like that would be a huge loss to the Australian scene.
Oh, 100%. And knock on wood that it doesn't happen, because he is just that good. That I am
absolutely.
glad that I get to wrestle him before he retires, you know? And that's one thing that it's like, I hope it happens, or I hope it happens is happening. Turns out I'm not actually booked, guys. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Wow, everyone pulled a high spot on us. I will 5 you. I will, man. I just had a baby, so it's a little hard right now, but I promise I'll come down soon.
Oh, but like it is definitely something that has been on my bucket list, of people I want to wrestle, and I'm keen, I'm nervous, but I'm not letting him take the win easy. I'm not letting him lose. I want him to put up a fight because I'm going to put up a fight and I'm going to be pushed to my limits and he's going to be pushed to his limits and it's going to be an all-out brawl.
Absolutely. Now, if you get past Richie in the first round, who would you like to face in that tournament?
Caveman Hug.
You go for the biggest and the baddest straight away. I like it.
Fuck yeah.
Is it because of the size? Is it the size difference why you want to work with him?
I don't know, but like, besides being how cool would it be to have a pirate versus a fucking caveman, man? Like,
that would be pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. That would be pretty cool.
Like, we've made a joke that like, what, a caveman and a pirate walks into a bar and the bar runs out of alcohol, so
wow, that sounds like a dangerous night for anyone involved. Caveman Ugg would be an interesting match for you.
It would be so much fun, and I hope it happens, and I'm gonna have to work hard to make sure it happens. But I'm not underestimating Richie because I know how much experience and how hard he works. And, as much as I want to be able to make it to the third round and wrestle Ugg, it's just something I'm going to have to work for. And I'm going to really have to put my mind like towards it.
Yeah. And, what's your goal in wrestling? Like, where do you want to go with it?
I mean, I feel like everyone's goal in wrestling is to be signed eventually or make a career off it and just wrestle all the time. And that's what I want to do eventually, like I want to be able to go and make a career for myself out of wrestling instead of just being a weekend warrior, like, which would be an amazing chance in the long run,
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. But if I get to do this still as a hobby or what I'm doing now, then fuck yeah, I'd be content with life.
Yeah. And I think that like is like the fact that you've gone, you've done it, you've got into it, you've trained, you've given it an effort as well as like there's people that just have never even gone, yeah, I really want to do that, but never really try, never put the effort in. And,
yeah. You meet a lot of them along the way, unfortunately, and it is really sad because it's like they waste other people's time. And it's just a bit unfortunate because it's like, why waste other people's time when, like that their
take
time.
a spot of other people who really want to do
it. Yeah.
Sometimes people just want to get in the ring, do a rock bottom or people's elbow, and that's it. They're on their way,
Yeah, but it's still just a bit upsetting in the long run, especially when it's like like people who train and they train and they train and they train and they do show after show, and then it's just this person that's like, I just want to do this, and then I'm out of here. It's just a bit of a slap in the face and a bit of a waste of time as well, you know?
Yeah. And I think, like you're saying, that people that turn up to training that don't put in effort, or they turn up to shows, they leave before the show's finished, that sort of thing.
Yeah, but like there are some people, like people that do have like like proper excuses, you know? Like if you have to leave a show early and you have work at like 7 a.m. the next day, or you have a family, like there are legitimate reasons why people do it. But
Yeah.
when you go to training and you stand in the corner and you just watch, or you know, like you do a half-assed effort just because you don't want to be there, it's just sad. And you know, like what's the point? And I have very strong opinions on it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think, you're a very passionate and dedicated person, in the business. And, when I think that when you have that level of passion, you have that level of dedication, like you do and a lot of others do in this country, that you can't settle for mediocrity. And you look at people that are just sort of half-assing and just being like, it's the same. Like when I go to the gym and just see someone like standing there like this on their phone, I'm like, why are you fucking here? Like,
Exactly.
Like, put in your work, then do that shit.
Exactly. It's like let me take a few photos, and then they'll leave, and it's like, what the fuck? Like, you stare at them from like across the gym. It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, you know what? The funniest thing I ever saw in the gym was years ago, where this like little Italian dude walked up to like this rack of like dumbbells, and he went, and I was sitting across the gym, just finished doing bench press, and I was just like sitting there going, and he turned around and we locked eyes, and I was just like, and he was just like, and just grabbed his shit and left, and I just sat there. I was like, why, bro?
Oh man.
Yeah. So, there's people that are just posers, and I think that was the moral to that story, where it's just,
oh yeah, like you get them in every sport. Like,
yeah, exactly. But look, guys, it is that time of the show. It is 60 seconds with Piers. We have told Rochelle all about this game. Last show that we had with when we had our last Thursday night show with Richie Taylor, he dropped a fucking high spot on that one. But we're going to go with Rochelle, and we're going to see how she goes with this. Rochelle, how it's going to go. I'm going to fire questions at you for 60 seconds. You're going to tell me the answer to these questions. They're nothing questions, and they're a lot of fun. So when you're ready, Rochelle, give me the Iggy, and we'll get started.
Let's go.
Okay, Coke or Pepsi?
Pepsi.
Gold Class or VMAX?
Gold Class.
What TV series do you watch over and over?
The what is it? Fucking Grey's Anatomy.
What is your go-to drink on a night out?
A tequila sunrise.
One has to go. Game of Thrones, Lord of Rings, or Harry Potter?
Lord of the Rings.
Snapchat or TikTok?
TikTok.
Which Chris is hotter, Hemsworth, Evans, or Pratt?
Hemsworth.
What was the last gift you received?
Some Maccas of my partner.
There you go. In 5 minutes, you're being shipped to outer space with what two personal belongings you're going to take with you?
I'm going to take my phone, and I'm going to take my teddy bear.
Sure. Time. There you go. Phone and teddy bear. Two things that no one should go without. I've got mine,
exactly.
Always
you're going to take your teddy bear everywhere, like.
100%. It's especially when you go to a picnic, you got to have a teddy bear picnic. But
exactly.
Rochelle,
especially one that is scented. Like, so this one has like a scent in it, and it smells really nice, and it's like, yes.
There you go. But nice scented teddy bears. So I think it might be a bit weird if a 39-year-old dude has a teddy bear, but
What
we're
are you
living in
on
a more
about?
acceptable
I
culture.
think you would look amazing with a teddy bear.
Well, there you go. Next show that I go to that you're on, I will make sure that I bring a teddy bear. I'll even buy the teddy bear a ticket.
You better bring a fucking teddy bear.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. But Rochelle, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. I definitely want to get you back on for a part 2 because I think you're an absolute riot. It's been an amazing time talking with you. But Rochelle, where can everyone find you? Where can everyone follow you, buy some merch, and check out shows?
Awesome. So my Instagram is Rochelle Rogue Pro. My Twitter is Rochelle Rogue PW. Facebook is just Rochelle Rogue Professional Wrestler. My shirts are on Wrestler Merch. So just go into Wrestler Merch, type in Rochelle Rogue, and they should be right there. All of that type of stuff. If you need 8x10s or stickers, just DM me on one of my social media platforms. And for shows, just keep a look on my Instagram. My next one, other than, Deathmatch Down Under, will most likely be FWA.
There you go. Make sure you check out Rochelle Rogue. She's wrestling tomorrow night. Richie Taylor in the first round of the Deathmatch Down Under Heavyweight Championship tournament. So make sure you can tune into that on Independent Wrestling TV. Guys, big show tomorrow here on the MWA Podcast Network for the Get Funk podcast with the host, former WCW and TNA talent, Alan Kwee Funk, as he's got his guest, RJ Brewer, on for that show. So make sure you check it out. That is going to be at 7 p.m. USA Eastern, which is 9 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. So make sure you tune in for that show. The following day, you make sure to tune in for Killing the Business with former ECW original Angel the Kingpin Medina, as he's going to be breaking it down and killing the business like he always does. That's going to be 10 a.m. Australian time on Saturday, which will be Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Woo! And then after that, on the next day, make sure to check out Nights of the Gimmick Table with the Dead Presidents, Boogaloo and Lowrider, because they're going to be breaking it down and doing their thing on the Gimmick Table with Mikey Whipwreck this week. So make sure to check out those shows, guys. But Rochelle, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. As I said, love to get you back on for a part 2. And best of luck for tomorrow night.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. And I'm definitely keen on another one.
Absolutely. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that share button. And until next time, we'll still rewind. Until next time, we'll see you soon. Peace.